towards the 3 farthing stone, and Bilbo stood at his gate with his nephew to greet them each in turn. "Oh, Bilbo, our party is going splendidly. I'm not sure anything could spoil such a wonderful day." "Why, look, it's our cousins, the Proudfoots. Why don't you say hello, Uncle?" Uh, very well put, Uncle. We are quite happy to have you enjoy the party. Enjoy the party. The party was very successful. Food, drinks, and music were all in plenty, though some were getting suspicious of some of the more nefarious guests. I must say, I've never had so much fun in all my life. But who invited the sour-looking dwarf? Oh well, how are you enjoying the party? Roosebird giggles uncontrollably. You're very right. I should stop worrying and enjoy the party. And so the party continued. All throughout the day, there was feasting and merriment. While the hobbits were preparing dinner, others were preparing something completely different. Everything is going according to plan, Gandalf. No one suspects a thing, not even that pesky Frodo. Are you ready to spring our trap and steal Mad Baggins' fortune? Well, I'm sure what you meant to say was, we'll be ready, yes, we will. A tent was erected over the party tree to hold dinner for Bilbo and his guests. After the feast, Bilbo and Frodo arose. It was time for the party speech. All in attendance waited with great anticipation to see what Bilbo would say. Bilbo and I would like to thank all of you for attending. We cannot express our gratitude for how happy we are being with you tonight. Before we conclude the evening, my uncle has something he would like to say. Oh, yes, I quite agree. I'm rather enjoying Bilbo's speech, are you not? This guy keeps... My goodness, perhaps you misheard my question. Dancing and everything. Now, I believe Bilbo has an announcement. Very well put, Uncle. Yeah, this is a response to the emotes. Gandalf, now! Mwahaha, our plan is complete. No one will suspect we've disposed of Mad Baggins. Now we have Bag End all to ourselves. Isn't that right, Gandalf? Sorry. So, and to think that, yes, well, I agree, I think. And so our tale comes to an end. To this day, no hobbit has seen or heard from Mr. Baggins or the old wandering conjurer, though some claim on cool, clear nights the sound of distant laughter and jingling coins can still be heard around the old party tree. Sorry. And to think that I've considered that maybe something, at least that the workflow for this may be possible. Trying to do voice acting, maybe something I could still do with my long COVID, since I can't do most normal jobs. It's going to require, obviously, a lot of training, coaching practice, and not there. But I have a nice sounding voice most days, though I'm somewhat hoarse and out of sorts today. And lately I haven't been sleeping well and coughing up some blood, which is not helping. What to say with the overall hoarseness and such. Anyways, there's that achievement. Clean up some of the messes here. Oh, yes, I should probably do the fireworks thing myself. Although, I have to go around that way. Right. Picking up the reeking garbage. Oh, gets me all festival tokens. And moving this beggar off, unfortunately. Grab the cold as ice quest, and making mischief. That's the firework thing where you set off fireworks and pick the pockets of the festival goers, the wealthy festival goers, and give them to the workers, foreman, or whatever, who distributes among his workers who are starving to death slowly despite working very long hours because the mayor increased hours and cut wages to the point where people still have jobs or slowly starving and would starve without the help you give them. And the people who opposed him were put out of work and are now the beggars. So, yeah, greed. Greed, greed, greed. I think I commented on, well, the greediness of this before, and more in a few ways. Not to say the picking pockets is the right solution. It most certainly isn't. Whole Robin Hood does not solve the systemic problems that lead to such inequality. Medieval town like this is, well, it's pre-capitalist. Doesn't really have a very formalized economic system. I guess there's feudalism, but feudalism wasn't actually really active in the towns. It was more in the countryside where you had, serfs. The system of medieval town, well, kind of a pre-capitalism, but not actually. Nothing, fairly informal economic system that could vary based on the needs and the leadership, is what I'm trying to say. Having a system based on empowering the workers and putting them in charge of things, on the other hand, that could solve these issues long term. Nope, bigger to move off there. Such a system might involve worker owned businesses, perhaps. If you've ever heard of a workers' cooperative, an effective means of organizing business. It's slightly more effective than normal privately owned businesses in that you get higher productivity, higher output, higher long-term survival rates of the business. It's less likely to go under. The most workers' cooperatives is what I'm referring to, are small businesses, and so they go under at high rates because they're small, but they actually go under at lower rates than your typical small business. So it's an improvement. And you can scale up workers' cooperatives. People just tend not to try and do so. They really should, because larger businesses survive longer more often. An example, though, of a scaled up workers' cooperative is the Mondragon Corporation in Spain, which is a network of workers' cooperatives mutually supporting, though, and that makes them less vulnerable to the vagaries that normally affect small businesses. Cause them to go under at high rates during tough times. But workers' cooperatives go under less often because during tough times, the first response of workers is usually to everyone have a pay cut and share the pain instead of putting some people out of work to try and deal with the decline in demand during a recession, leading to needing to produce less supply. Because you can't move the supply at original production levels. That's why people get laid off during recessions. Because there's a fall in demand and there's an oversupply. And this happens repeatedly under capitalism. You constantly get these recessions and oversupply and people getting laid off. But workers' cooperatives tend not to lay people off. Instead, everyone just takes a pay cut. And this leads to higher retention and people feeling more valued. And so they work harder because of this, and that they tend to make higher wages because there is no boss exploiting them. paying them less than the value of their work. Workers' cooperatives, there are no profits in that sense. There's money put into emergency reserve funds or for growing the business, but there's nobody. But it's a business that operates without profit. Everything goes back into wages or is reinvested in the business or into the business's reserves so it can survive tough times. So workers get paid higher wages. And so they work harder. People tend to work harder when you pay them more. I think that's common sense that most people will agree is true. And yet we have a system that rewards paying workers as little as possible because usually paying people less, the decrease in wages will more than outweigh the decrease in production. But it hurts the economy as a whole. It means you have an overall poor country versus if wages were higher and people thus felt more valued and were more motivated to work and to work more hours because the, to use an economics term, marginal benefit of working hours is greater if your wage is higher. You're more likely to say, okay, it's worth, I don't know, hiring a nanny to help take care of my kids so I can work more hours or ordering out food so I don't have to cook or whatever. If your wages are higher, more likely to judge it to be worthwhile. So, yeah, that's common sense. Higher wages lead to more hours worked and higher productivity. People do things to support their productivity at work, so they're more likely to hold on to the job by increasing their performance. There's a lot of mechanisms of this, but there's Basil. Just got the empty keg emergency. Where is the last moving them off? Bill Hyde. Bill Hyde always hides from me. Seems like surrender's somewhere. Looking on the mini map for him. There's Mara. Basil. The festival announcer. I forget where he spawns. Oh, there he is. Bill Hyde. He's always the hardest one to find. Oh, here he is. Boom. Unfortunately, you move him off from a fire, which if he can't get any kind of shelter, he might very well die. Yeah, our system, by not prioritizing human need, people end up dying of exposure of when's the eating contest start again? That or I may have to do the empty keg emergency. Or a charitable spirit. Yeah, let's give the beggars some coins this time instead of move them off so maybe they don't die. Charity is a virtue, despite our system that has increasingly portrayed charity as some kind of weakness and compassion as a weakness. That's how you know you have an evil system when charity is portrayed as a flaw instead of a strength, instead of a sign of being a good person. I mean, sometimes that you'll get a nod to, charity, but then just look at the rhetoric people will say to each other when someone, say, impoverishes themselves by giving them too much charity or lose opportunities because of it, or there's a lot of let's see. Give Barrett Novell some charity. Let's see. I have to find Jack Judson. He's the last. And he is over here. I think. Oh no, I still have to do Bill Hyde again. There we go. Good. Tell Daily Upbridge she inspired you to give away your hard-earned tokens. I don't know about hard-earned, but in theory, earned. Boom. That finishes the quest. A little bit of coin for it, but mainly it just gets you a completed festival activity. Let's see. Unwilling Firehood, Cold as Ice, and Stuffing the Stuffed. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'll have to do the eating contest in order to get 10 quests. Otherwise, I'll have to do the empty keg emergency, which I don't love. It's annoying. Or the snowman, or I could just go do the snowball field, couldn't I, actually? 1 minute. Yeah, I can wait that long. What am I doing for time? 21 minutes. Okay, I'm going to cut the stream here. More to download and to bring to YouTube for sure, but this avoids having to cut the videos as much.